look after your feet for ultra running.
Yes, let's talk about that today.
Yeah, how to look after your feet for ultra running. Welcome to this week's podcast, CMF Running Podcast. Hopefully our audio is all good. We spent about an hour trying to fix our microphone.
Yes, thankfully we got up pretty early, so it's still only like 8 o'clock. So it doesn't feel like we've wasted that key chunk of the day.
Yeah,
but
we're still good.
We've still got the whole day ahead of us, and we're looking forward to talking about
Smelly feet.
Feet. Always a good way to start the day, talking about feet.
So yeah, this topic came up because we're just inside a week or so ago. We did Rage Against Riverhead. Had a lot of our crew there doing that sort of 8 to 12 hours on the feet as a key sort of like a discovery training session in the sort of earlier piece of the block as a lot of us lead into races such as Tarawera 100k 100 miler. Some are doing Riverhead relapse further on, and Faultline Ultra further on again.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought we had quite a few. There was some feet discussions going on the day, wasn't there?
There was, yes. I think so. Some people, ran the furthest, like distance and time, and it's kind of known that. If you're having problems with your hour run, then you've got big problems. But problems start to reveal themselves probably post 6 hours, because most training runs we only go up to 6 hours. There's not a lot of eight plus hour training runs that you do due to outweighing the benefit at times. But so situations like this, things pop up, which is part of the training.
I'm a real fan of that. That's why it's always good to, if you're training, especially if it's like a first miler or 100k, it's always good to start training early. I mean, obviously you're building up over a period of time generally, but always good to sort of start that lead in 6 months earlier, and then it allows you to get along the way, maybe a few months in, 2 to 3 months into that sort of 6 months, and it does allow you to get something like that 12-ish hours on the feet, and to really find out some stuff. Events such as Blue Lake are really good for that. Rage Against Riverhead. There's others. You could jump into some backyard ultras or whatever. Although I do like the continuous nature. 12 hours of continuous is good, preferably. But that's why I'm such a fan of that sort of thing earlier on. You just get to find out stuff.
Yeah, I had a client who did the 12 hours, and she's said how she's looking forward to do this from the learnings from it. She's currently training for Tarawera 100k. It's her first 100k. So she did Rage Against Riverhead, and it was just like a cruisy effort. It's like a learning, it's like a training run, but also, having the excitement of being a race, which, can add a bit of spice to it, opposed to a solo one, not race. You might go a little bit easier potentially, but,
it's just way more fun as well, because you're just hanging out with people, and that's what it's all about, eh?
And she found out some stuff about her feet, which I suppose it was the idea of this podcast, actually, almost.
Yeah, totally.
So thanks you to your feet,
Yeah, smelly feet FAQs. Or blistered feet FAQ.
Yeah, or both, being at Riverhead.
Not that smelly feet really matters, actually.
No, if you're running...
Smelly feet's good.
Yeah. If you're running and caring too much about what you look like, then, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what you look like or smell like. It's just what you've done,
the experience that you've had, eh?
Yeah. Way more valuable.
We kind of thought that the number one thing about So what's the title of what we're doing? How to look after your feet for ultra running. Well, I think the number one thing that you can do to look after your feet or to find stuff out about your feet is to do the training. Do the training. Yeah, that's how you find stuff out. Yeah, if you're training appropriately for your distance, then not only are you going to find stuff out about your individual feet, you're also going to condition your feet to what you're asking them to do. And I think that's just the number one thing.
For sure.
Some nice little calluses happening.
Yeah. I was just like thinking back to when we started running together, and I had a pair of shoes on, and like I hadn't done this much training before ever. And we went away over Christmas to National Park, did lots of training because Chris was training for the miler, and I had some shoes that were causing me like some problems. My toes were not, like it was too squished. And it's just like that fine line between, I needed to harden my feet up, but also I didn't need to like punish my feet as well. I think I kind of learned this from when I was working like in a shoe shop last year, is that I thought my feet were pretty narrow, which they are, but I also have quite a wide toe box. And so feet come in all shapes and sizes. So even like, what shoe works for you is like such a personal thing. Yeah, it's not just the size being like, okay, I'm a narrow, shoe size, or I'm a wide, because there can be obviously variances in what's narrow in one brand is like not even existing in another brand, or it's like, I suppose it's when you're getting more to the narrow, like, it's like you think your foot's narrow, but it's actually kind of wider, but not too wide. Anyway, all that kind of stuff. It's just...
Yeah, it always cracks me up. Like, you see the posts on whatever running group, like, what's the best pair of shoes? Like, it's always a crack up.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, like, how big are your feet? Like, are they wide? Are they narrow? Anything?
Yeah, it's just
like,
so many factors to consider. And I think like when you sort of transition from a beginner runner, so here's your pair of runners, to like an actual like training for a 100k or 100 miler, like you're transitioning, and like you get pickier actually, and you like either
gain experience from your training as you built up over a period.
And like if you like that kind of like plush kind of shoe, or do you like the sort of like tighter fitting, like lower profile shoe, or do you like the zero drop and all this kind of stuff? Like it's a personal preference.
So yeah, as a result of doing the training and building up, you're going to find out about what your shoe preference is, and so that's a really important thing, is to find the right pair of shoes for your feet, for the application that you're using them for.
Yeah.
Road, trail, whatever.
What type of trail,
what type of ultra, yeah.
It's just like, we could make a whole podcast about it, but we won't be today. We'll just be doing a general sweep on how to look after your feet when you're training for long distance ultras.
Yeah. So yeah, having the right pair of shoes is good. Best way to get your shoes is through a running shop in your area. Yes. Go in there, get fitted, have them look at your feet, try out a bunch of shoes. Any other tips from you?
Look, like I think you go to even that, like you go and you run around the shop, or run outside, you know. Yeah, it's just like not real life, If you're like trying them on and they're like not good in the shop, they're just gonna be useless out there. But ultimately, like, you're gonna probably buy some duds at some point. Like, not that the shoes are dud, but they're just not the shoes for you, and it's just part of it, and you just don't buy them again. And yeah, I think it's just a bit of trial and error, and then if you find the shoe that really works for you, you can just buy it over and over again. I know they change them sometimes, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's true quite a bit, eh? like someone like repeat purchase the same thing, then they adjust something to the
Yeah.
It's like, oh damn.
Yeah. Just buy in surplus, buy your life. Go there and spend like, I don't know, $5,000 on this one pair of shoe.
Doesn't the foam? I think the foam degrades. Eh?
Or even sitting in the box.
I think it does. Eh? Anyway.
Okay, well, that's not a hot tip. That's a joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Insert joke.
Yeah. You just have so many pairs, and then one day you decide that they're not for you anymore. You're stuck with the surplus.
And then they're hard to sell on
Yeah. 5 years old.
Yeah.
Technology's moved on.
Yeah. It's just losing money.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah, right pairs of shoes helps in terms of looking after your feet, preventative measures. Good pairs of socks.
Yes. Don't wear the Kmart socks in your Ultra.
Yeah.
Or even your Bonds ones. They're not going to cut it.
Yeah.
And also, like, even if you have a pair that you like make sure that they're not too old. Because socks, like shoes, wear thin. Even a sock doesn't need to have holes in it to be like too thin. As well, even though we're good ones, I reckon. Like if you're doing put yourself in a best condition you can. If you're doing 100 Ks or 100 mile like a race, you want that pretty new pair of socks. I think it's a good idea. I think like a new pair of socks to like make your feet feel real good.
So yeah, I really like. I kind of like two types because there's like the thin, medium, and like more cushiony type socks. I tend to like the medium sort of ones, mostly for road stuff or shorter stuff. But yeah, when it comes to like going long on trail, like 4 hours and over, I really like Drymax. Like I find them just they last for ages. Those socks too. Talking about awesome socks, yeah, they seriously last for ages.
I think I brought that up just now because I had a pair of Drymax socks that I just threw out one because they had a hole in it, but I've had it for like a while, like
a couple of years. I've had some Drymax socks for a couple of years.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
me too. And so I'm like, yeah, fair enough that you got holes in them, because it's been a lot of wear, and I use them in my long runs as well.
they're comfortable too, eh?
Yeah, I think socks are amazing, eh? Like it's like you're putting on like a glove that like fits to your foot, especially some of the like thinner ones as well. I can't think of the brand.
Like Steigen makes thin socks, eh?
Are those the dark blue ones?
Yeah.
I like them for
they're pretty good. Yeah.
I like them for road actually.
Yeah. This is the sort of socks I'd put on if I was like going to go for a 5K or 10K, like hard effort.
Yeah.
And you kind of got your more snug fitting like race pair of road shoes on.
Yeah, and then there's the ones that have like the left and right foot, and they just have like they're the same sort of feeling. Like they're obviously like got parts about them that fit in your arch in a certain way, so it makes it feel.
Yeah, they're a nice fitting sock. Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't wear them on a long. I wouldn't wear them on a long thing. Some people might.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's their preference thing again, right? Do the training.
Find out.
Find shit out.
Yeah. Get that blister.
Do the training, find shit out. Yeah. I guess like if your toes sometimes, like one of my athletes I was training for Auckland Marathon recently, we got quarter of the way or a third of the way through the training block, and he's like, "Oh, I'm getting problems on my toes." Like some people, just the way their toes are, they rub and stuff like that. And so yeah, if you're a person that's prone to things going on with the toes, then the toe socks are possibly a good option for you. The likes of the Injinji or the Creepers socks, because the toe socks are really good because then it prevents that rubbing of the toes together because you've got toe socks on.
I just actually saw a story from one of my clients, another client, who had a pair of creepers, and she's like, best socks I've ever worn. I've never tried them personally, but it's a good testimony. Best socks I've ever worn. And she's done some long stuff as well. So, yeah. I seem to be that type of person. Like, I have a particular toe, and if I haven't cut my toenails, like, short enough, they dig in to the other toe and then make it bleed.
Yeah, I've had that before.
And it, yeah.
I think I had that earlier in my running journey, like years and years ago.
Yeah.
But to your point of the toes spreading out. So, I think the more you run, the more your toes like want to do this natural splay out thing as you're running. Especially with some of the shoes like these days, like the Topos and the Ultras, they've got that wider box, so it gives your feet more room to, your toes more room to splay out like that.
Yeah, that's. I remember like a game really early on. We were like a few years ago now, like when we were starting to see each other, and I went for a run in like road run, and I got like halfway, and my like shoes. Like there was red coming through, and it was because my toenail had done this, and it had seeped through my sock and then through my shoe. I threw the shoes out, by the way.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
And it was like on a, an hour-ish kind of run. So, there you go. There are lots of stories.
If you're getting like blood coming through your shoe on a 1 hour run, then you need to like learn how to look after your feet.
Yeah.
You need to take some preventative measures, which we're going to talk about next.
There was no preventative measures. It was just get the shoes on, get out the door.
Get the shoes on, go for a run.
Go hard as I can.
Yeah.
Pre like training, I was still running.
Run hard.
Run hard.
Run hard all the time. Yeah.
Calm down since then.
Yeah. So, that's a good segue. Result of your training, you're going to find out your vulnerable spots. So the result of like simulating stuff, trial and error with shoes, socks, you're going to find out the vulnerable spots in your feet. And even like, you could even like just look at your feet and just see, you can sort of see where like little calluses like are forming and things like that. And those are the places where there's like rubbing and stuff going on. Those are the places where, plus 6, 8, 12, whatever hours, that you're going to start getting like issues. So, pre-taping is really good. There's like plasters you can get. You can just use like normal, I don't know, like sort of that D3 kind of, like you can just use tape sort of stuff or like sort of heavy duty plasters.
Yeah.
There's like Wool Aid. I haven't tried this, but 022 in New Zealand here, one of our CMF partners, they have Wool Aid, which I think is made by someone in New Zealand actually.
Sounds like it would be.
With
all the sheep.
Yeah, all the sheep. And it's really sustainable. Actually, I remember we looked at it when we were writing the notes for this, which was like last week.
Getting around to it.
But go and check it out. And we got CMF discount for that as well. If you're part of our crew, Hiker's Wool. That's another one. I don't really know anyone that's used like Hiker's Wool itself in an ultra like running situation. I've seen it like talked about or whatever.
Okay.
Do you know?
No, I don't know anything about it. Can't speak to it at all.
It's just kind of like this. This is what it says. It's like wool. You literally stick it in.
So it's a different variation of Wool Aid.
Yeah, well, the Wool Aid is like the plaster type thing in the plaster realm.
I also can't really speak much to Wool Aid, so this is on you.
Oh no. And so Wool Aid is more of that plaster kind of thing, whereas Hiker's Wool is literally like wool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Go out to the sheep. Go.
Stop the rubbing.
My parents have like a type of sheep that's like shorn, like its wool comes off by itself.
Oh yeah.
So we could just go to the paddock and get some, wash it,
sell it.
Side hustle.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea. Yeah, it's quite funny.
Yeah, 'cause there's some out there actually.
Yeah. We should have grabbed it so we could have done a show and tell.
Yeah. I know we thought about it earlier.
Yeah. So vulnerable spots, tape them up. Then there's like someone like you.
Mm-hmm.
We often laugh at our feet. Actually, my feet
are perfect.
Are like pretty mint. I'm one of these people that have pretty mint feet. They don't really have too many issues. Charlotte's feet, on the other hand, are like
pretty
just next level. Like if you look at her feet, they have just been through a lot.
Again, like when we first got together and I was new to like running, I was like, sweet, my feet are just like Chris's. Like, I don't have any problems. And like, yeah, I've had problems. Like a bleeding toes, black toes, losing toes, like blister inside a blister, like in my foot and my heel. I do have spots, like my heel in like my big toe, and that are like problem areas. And like, yeah, it's when I did Rage Against Riverhead, it was like the first like really long run I've done in ages. Like up to 4 hours, I kind of am okay. I think. But I can't remember the last time I had done a 6-hour run. Anyway. So yeah, I forgot actually. I forgot to take my feet. And
so did I actually.
Yeah. May have cut my toenails. That's about it. And then yeah, I ended up with like not too bad really. Like, you know, blister, like sort of like a few blisters and stuff. And rubbing areas. And yeah, I have this thing that I get swollen feet if I run for too long. And I think that's just due to my like circulation or lack of. And yeah, it just kind of goes away after a decent while. Actually, Epsom salts bath helps. Thanks to Kim, she suggested that. But yeah, it's not a beauty part about the running.
So I know some people do find out along the way that for an ultra situation, such as a 100k or a miler, that they actually go half a size up as well, don't they? To what their normal might be.
Yeah.
I've never done that myself, but
neither.
Some people do.
I don't know, when I start training properly, you know, it's like, or you think about that stuff more like in depth. Whereas like at the moment I'm just sort of running, so I'm just like having fun, so I'm not necessarily like thinking like about my shoes like in depth, and you know, I'm not taking it myself too seriously at the moment.
So. I know one of my guys who's training for the miler, Ricky, he's went half a size up in his shoes. What are your plans to race in for the Tarawera miler? And that's just, that's that thing of like gained experience along the way with training, like, you know, and having had done like a 12-hour run a couple of months ago, found some stuff out. Feet getting a little bit bigger, that kind of thing. So yeah, podiatrist maintenance.
Yes,
that was a thing.
Yes, this is something I like to do.
But we found something out about that, didn't we? Like when you did it. Maybe you've done it a couple of times, like a week leading into a race.
Yes, and it can be positive or negative. If you do it too close to your race, your feet are too soft. So you have to do it like, would you say 2 weeks? No.
Well,
no.
Yeah, I mean, because what do they do?
Okay, so yeah.
It's like chisel away the calluses.
Well, yeah.
Just grind them off.
Something like that, yep. But also, so for me, like, your toenail obviously grows in length, but for me, my toenail can grow in thickness as well from just the rubbing and whatever, hardening up. So they file away the thickness as well.
Of the toenails?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which helps. And then they look at your problem areas and they get rid of some. And like, I think like if you're good with your communication and they're like, when's your next race? And you say X amount of time, they're probably going to take more or less away from those calloused areas.
Did you get the big calluses around the sides, right?
Yeah, especially on the outer, and then like on the outside of my big toe. So yeah, maybe even like because
I reckon a month
out.
Yeah. If you're going for the full-on smoothing the right back, but because what we found out, because Charlotte did it a couple of times before, like you did it before a marathon and before something else, and you did it race week, and your feet were like silky smooth. Like, but then you got blisters, right? Because like you kind of want a bit of hardness, like you want some callus action going on. Like I think for some hardness, you want your feet to be.
What was this for? I remember this, but
maybe Auckland Marathon, I think.
Oh, you did it. Yeah.
And then something else as well. You've done it 2 or 3 times.
Maybe it was Tarawera.
And then we realised, we're like, oh shit, like to actually do, I think you do want a degree of battle hardness with the feet. You do want a degree of some sort of callousness going on, callous going on. For like battle hardened, I guess. Where it goes too far, I guess, like with the calluses, is if they get too big and they start cracking.
Yeah.
Because then that becomes very painful, because then your feet are actually cracking, and then there's like things like cream and stuff you need to fix, like that sort of stuff. And at that point it's probably gone too far. You need to go to the podiatrist and get things, grind it off.
Yeah, and I think like it's just part of your maintenance.
Yeah.
Things, and just have to like budget it into your budget or not. So
I think if you're going to get that sort of stuff done, if you're going like close to a race, couple of weeks, I think communicating to the podiatrist themselves and being like, hey, I've got this race, maybe you don't take it all right back, like you want to leave a little bit of so I think find out that sort of stuff for yourself on the journey as you go. I have never been to a podiatrist for any kind of repair stuff to my feet because my feet are all good.
They really are.
Yeah. All I have is like there's a couple of bits. So my bits are like on the inside of my big toes, and probably on the top of my foot.
Oh yeah.
Where the tongue underneath, where you're tightening your shoe. That's my 2 spots. Sometimes on the end of my second toe. My second toe is longer than my big toe. It's quite a long one, that one, for me. Sometimes the end of that one gets a wee blister on it. So sometimes I did plaster that one up as well. I've plastered that one up before. So my preventative measures, if I'm going long and I remember to do it, is plastering up the inside of my big toes, the end of my second toe, and sort of padding like thick plaster on the top of my foot, just to prevent that kind of rubbing kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's my little jam.
Yeah,
Yeah, cool. What about race day? So you're doing your 100k or your miler or your whatever, backyard ultra, multi-day, goodness knows what. You're halfway through. Let's say you're halfway through your 50k's through your first 100k or your first miler, and you are getting the sense that something is going on in your feet, and you're like, "Oh shit,
what's happening?
I need to take my shoes off and have a look." Don't ignore that thought, okay? Like, maybe if you're like 80% through your race, or 20k's to go, like, doesn't matter. Keep going. If you're happy with that level of like discomfort, pain, and you just want to get the thing done, and you're closer to the finish than you are from the start, then by all means keep chugging away. But I think if you're like, that's the number one thing. Like something going terribly wrong with your feet can like literally end your race. You can DNF if you don't address issues. So yeah, number one thing in your race, if you're like 50, if you're halfway through and something's going on down there, like sort it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you get to your next like aid station or place where you got crew or whatever, yeah, take your shoes off and address the issue. Sometimes it might mean you have to pop. I know with my miler, when I did my last miler, I had a pin in my kit,
Oh yeah.
and I developed some blisters that day. Actually, I had a couple of unexpected things pop up because I chose a different pair of shoes for a certain section, and yeah, it was a bit of a like error, I guess. They weren't very good actually, and yeah, so I developed like blisters that I hadn't had in training, and but I was able to. I had the pin. I popped them and fixed it up. It was good for the rest of the race. Changed my shoes. So yeah, go early if you got something big going on.
Ah, good memory. Yeah, I'm a funny one. I seem to be like just push on through kind of type. Even after complaining about my feet problems, I like didn't take my shoes off for 100k, and I didn't take my shoes off for Rage Against Riverhead. And I think it's like everyone's got a different pain threshold, I guess, or a comfort threshold as well. I was telling another client that I didn't take my shoes off at all, and she's like, "What?" For Rage? And I was like, "No." But yeah, it's a pretty normal thing to do.
Yeah, and if you're racing, like as well, because what the thought pattern is, right, is it's like, oh, I don't want to stop because then I'm going to lose time.
Exactly right.
So, but if you're like, that's why that thing. If you're earlier in the race, it's that spend time to save time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a thing there of like, okay, I'm going to spend 5 minutes sorting my feet out, putting plasters, popping that blister, changing my socks, putting a fresh pair of shoes on, whatever, or maybe you're just changing the socks. I'm going to spend that 5 minutes sorting this out, and it's going to save me a lot of time.
Yeah.
Opportunity gained.
Sure.
Race back on track.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's about it, really. I
think so, and yeah, I think that sort of saying that regardless of all this stuff, if there's probably a high probability that you're going to have some discomfort, and it's like it's normal to have some discomfort. Like if you're going to get to the end of your 100k and your feet aren't sore, like I don't know, it's probably very unusual. But it's just like what Chris just said, like getting in early, or like doing the training, discovering that the shoe isn't the one for you, and just doing all the things that we've done. It's really important.
Discovering what your pain threshold is as well, eh?
Yeah,
what you're willing to be. Yeah, how uncomfortable you're willing to be. You find that out in training and
totally
lead up races and stuff.
Yeah, and it's just we are not doing, even though it's totally normalized in our world of running, like running 100k's or 100 miles, even 50k's really is like a long way. So shit's gonna happen basically, and it's just how big is that problem gonna be, and what can you change and what is okay, and yeah,
nice. So summary: go for a run.
Yeah.
Find stuff out.
Simple.
Do the training. That's the number one thing. Find stuff out. See what shoes work for you. All that kind of stuff. Preventative measures, once you've found stuff out. Pre-taping, pre-covering bits, whatever thing you want to use to do that. Maybe you need a particular pair of socks, toe socks, whatever. Preventative measures. As a result, you found that stuff out from training.
Yes.
And in the race situation, fix issues early. If you're halfway through miler or 100k and you've sensed that there's something big going on down there, don't be scared to take your shoes off.
Pop that blister.
Sort it out. Pop the blister.
Not like what is that movie? It's like this running movie, and then he's like running for a marathon, and then there's like a blister under his foot, and then his friend pops it, and then the blister like squirts into his mouth,
Oh God, really?
and then I can't remember the movie, and then he says some line like, "That is the second most disgusting thing I've had in my mouth."
Oh, that was rough. I can't remember that one. But that
It's like an English movie,
It does sound like
and it's got like that guy from Black Books in it.
that would be like your worst crewing nightmare.
Yeah, it's like,
Especially if it's like your partner. You know,
I love you, but I don't want.
I'll pop this. I'm gonna do.
I'm gonna take one for the team.
Especially if like your like husband or wife or partner like is crewing you and they're not a runner as well. That makes it. That would make it.
Divorce.
Yeah, would make it even worse. Yeah, they're just like, what the hell? Yeah. We crossed the line here. We crossed the line. Yeah. Oh, well, on that note, I think we're done.
Yeah, man.
If you want help with your running, just get in touch with us. We're easy to find at CMF Running online and YouTube, etc. Just click at the message. If you want to join a membership, we'll put the links for that as well. Just $30 a year. Still $30 a year. We're going to put it up at some point. But yeah, annual membership, $30 a year. Get access to all our community stuff. Link up for runs, link up for races, and all our partner discounts.
Yes.
Awesome. Rightio. Catch you in the next one, eh?
See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.